Basically, what I got from this campaign is Tarte thinks we're all ugly and we all need cosmetic surgery. You have two options: cosmetic procedures or Snatch Stick. There are people defending this product because they are desensitized to it. But there is a difference between selling a solution to an insecurity that you already had and introducing new ones to you. The beauty industry doesn't necessarily have to make you feel beautiful to be profitable. They need to push these unholy beauty standards on us so that they can sell us the solution. This is not the episode that I had originally been working on this week, but this Tarte Cosmetics Snatch Stick marketing campaign came across my desk, and unfortunately I could not look away and I could not stop thinking about it. So let's discuss. If you haven't seen the campaign, it's for a contour stick, which normally would not be groundbreaking news, except for that the imagery for this campaign was heavily cosmetic surgery coded, in the sense that the entire campaign was designed around the fact that it was cosmetic surgery in a stick. You heard that right. Let's look at some of the campaign.
Coming out of the doctor now, I think I'm just like so over the plastic surgery. Oh no, wait, sorry, 1 second. Guys, stop, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Oh my gosh, get away from me, please. Like, wait, Tarte came out with what? Wait, period.
Kind of focused on being a baddie right now. I can't really work.
Get ready with me to go get a nose job right now.
Addison, put the scalpel down.
You put the scalpel down.
Get off the scalpel, Addison. Take it off!
This looks so much better than filler.
I can see all the burning and everything. More is more. Because I spend enough money on real Botox. Do a nose job while we're at it. Let's go. That is so crazy.
Right?
I love it.
Hey guys, it's Dr. Lex. Just kidding. I'm Tarte's Global Pro Makeup Artist Lex, and today we're going to be doing some snatching with our new Snatch Stick. So, on the menu, we're going to be doing an upper left, a lip flip, a facelift, a nose job. I'm just kidding. We're just using Snatch Stick. Duh.
I have owned it, sweetheart.
Did you apologize to me or Eileen?
I don't feel like I really owe you an apology.
So as you can see, this campaign is full of surgical gloves, cosmetic procedure language and imagery, scalpels, ambulances. And to top it off, influencers received personalized treatment plans. They were sent PR packages that had the product and a photo of themselves that they did not submit, that Tarte took from their Instagrams and had marked all over the places where they could use their product. It wasn't in the way that we normally would see a product placement guide, like, oh, here's where you could add a shadow, here's where you could add a highlight. No, they were sent a prescription treatment plan that had cosmetic procedures listed on it. It was literally a treatment plan with 4 different cosmetic procedures. It doesn't say clearly whether or not Tarte thinks you could have them, should have them, need them. Either way, it's implying, hey, we think you could have all these procedures, but instead use our product to mimic the looks of those procedures. I am honestly speechless. This, to me, doesn't come across as fun and cheeky and tongue-in-cheek or satirical. It's extremely problematic, and we're going to talk about it. This campaign was over a couple of days, and it seemed to get very different responses on TikTok as it did on Instagram. The response on Instagram seems somewhat positive, and the response on TikTok is overwhelmingly negative. It was on TikTok that the influencers came forward with this PR package that they received and how upset they were by it. So it makes sense that a lot of the backlash has been on TikTok. People were pissed. There were an overwhelming amount of negative comments, as you can see, and the responses that Tarte was giving back to them were very PR coded, very, we hear you, but we don't care. And they didn't halt the campaign once they realized how offended people were. In fact, they just ignored it and continued to post. There are negative comments starting back at the very first video about this campaign that they posted. There are negative comments on almost every single post that they've posted, and they've continued to post this campaign. The campaign continued despite all the backlash. A ton of paid partnerships continue to roll out. Tarte's continued to sort of respond to the criticism, not really. And the company eventually defended the campaign by essentially saying that, according to Tarte, 65% of its inventory sold within the first week, and they surpassed a bunch of their projected sales. So apparently, by their metric dollars, it was a success. So they don't care that they've offended and upset all of the women in their customer base, as long as the ones that they didn't piss off are buying. I don't think the interesting question is whether this campaign would sell their product. What I want to talk about is what they're selling besides contour. Before we go any further into this video, I do want to say that we will be discussing things like body image, eating disorders, weight, cosmetic procedures, and appearance-related beauty standards in this video. If you are triggered by any of those things, or those things are difficult for you, I will not be offended if you don't want to watch this one. But if you are okay discussing those things, then let's continue. To be clear, I'm not against contour or using makeup to change your features or enhance your features or do anything of the sorts. If there is something about your face that you're not happy with, it's completely your right to want to use makeup to change that. That's not at all what we're discussing in this video. I'm not opposed to using concealer to conceal things. I'm not opposed to using contour to contour things. That is makeup. That's essentially what makeup is, right? We know that. We're not arguing whether or not makeup is meant to do what it's meant to do, but the part that bothers me is who gets to decide what needs changing. Because there's a very big difference between a cosmetic company saying, this product is a tool. Here's what it can do. Use it however you wish. And a company saying, here's the face that you should want, and here's the product that will get you that result. That's an entirely different message to send your consumers. The Snatch Stick is taking the second idea to a very, very absurd extreme. And basically what I got from this campaign is Tarte thinks we're all ugly and we all need cosmetic surgery. And while I'm being mostly facetious, that is really what this is saying to me. When the copy on your website says things like, upgrade your face card, instant facelift, fake a rhinoplasty, you are giving me problems that I didn't know I had. That's not why I wear makeup. I'm not trying to fake a nose job. I don't even know what an upper bleph is. That's not what everyone is buying makeup for. That might be someone's. There might be a particular person who's looking for makeup to mimic these things because they maybe can't afford them, let's say. That is a consumer that exists, but that consumer exists without you illuminating these issues to everyone else who wasn't thinking that way to begin with. Then to compare women getting nose jobs to women being in an ambulance, like what exactly are we supposed to think the medical emergency is? My nose, my jaw, my cheekbones, my face? Like what is the emergency exactly? So I wanted to know whether or not I was overreacting. One could say, okay, it's a provocative campaign, but I think there is a bigger societal question here that we need to be talking about. I wanted to know if there was a bigger issue here with Tarte's overall messaging, and most importantly, when did cosmetic surgery become the reference point for what successful makeup looks like? I don't wear makeup to look like I've had cosmetic surgery. I'm sure some people do, but like that's definitely not everyone. So to insinuate that that's the purpose of makeup, the purpose of makeup is not to mimic cosmetic surgery. But that's essentially what they're implying. What this campaign revealed about Tarte's entire ethos, Tarte's messaging overall is more corrective than it is just fun ways to play with makeup. And here's the thing, if they were genuinely framing it as you don't need plastic surgery, makeup can enhance the face you already have, that messaging was very lost. That is not how this comes across to me. I do think there's a way to have framed this in a way that was positive. If their intention was to come across like, hey, you're beautiful as you are, you don't need plastic surgery. If you want a little bit more definition here or a little bit more definition there, you can use this product. That's not how it came across at all, especially given the fact that the models that they are using in all of their promos are already stunning. And I can't know this, but some of them do look like they've had some tweakments and enhancements done to them already. And to use an objectively gorgeous model and then add makeup on top of that makes it an incredibly unachievable look for most people. So if that's what you're suggesting that this product does, that's already incredibly misleading because they're putting makeup on top of an already absolutely stunning person. They're not showing your average consumer how to use this product or what they might look like. They're showing it on gorgeous models who are already snatched. They're already stunning. The entire visual language to me surrounds some sort of intervention. Like they're like, oh my God, ambulance, treatment plan. It's all very, this is an urgent situation. Your ugliness is urgent and we need to intervene. Come into our ambulance and we'll make you pretty is how it feels. It's very dramatic and it's medical equipment, surgical markings, procedures, an ambulance, and then there was the personalized influencer packages, and it's just gross. It's really gross is what this is. And it's teaching young girls that they need to change and they need to alter their appearance in order to be beautiful. You're not just beautiful how you are, and you have two options: cosmetic procedures or Snatch Stick. That's disturbing. So then I had to ask if this type of marketing from Tarte specifically came out of nowhere. Like, where did this idea come from? Because to me, based on the other beauty brands that I've seen, it seemed rather out of left field and very extreme. It's a very extreme campaign, and there's a reason that no other beauty brand has done it, because it's controversial and gross. But then I started noticing, if you look at the entire Tarte portfolio, it is highly cosmetic procedure coded. Their product names, their product descriptions. We've got Shape Tape, Face Tape, Snatch Stick. It's all very much, you need to fix your face is what I'm getting from their marketing. That might not stand out to you until you start to compare it to some of the other beauty brands, which are very different messaging. It's more about enhancing your natural features or the performance of the makeup itself. It's not implying that you have a problem to solve with your face. Lightweight cream to powder finish tells me about the product. Upgrade your face card tells me I'm ugly. At some point, we're not discussing the performance of the makeup or what it can or cannot do. If you compare lightweight cream to powder finish, that tells me something useful about the makeup. That's all great. But upgrade your face? That's not describing a contour stick. That's describing my face as something that requires an upgrade. So suddenly, the Snatch Stick campaign didn't quite seem as random. The plastic surgery metaphor has already been very embedded in their language. The campaign just made it very literal. They were doing it kind of subliminally, and they just decided, hey, let's just go for it, and let's just tell them all that they all need plastic surgery, but we can help. This is where I kind of wanted to check myself a little bit, because cosmetic companies do sell transformation. Of course they do. Concealers conceal things. Contour changes the structure of our face, and mascara changes our eyelashes. That's kind of the point. But then when I started to look at other brands, it wasn't so black and white. I wanted to show some other brands, similar products, so that you could see the difference in messaging. There's a big difference between a brand that says, a lightweight hydrating concealer that gives you buildable coverage where you need it, while brightening skin with a radiant finish. Instantly hides what you want to hide: blemishes, dark circles, redness, fine lines with medium buildable coverage and a radiant skin-like finish. That's the copy on the Rare Beauty website. The copy on the Tarte Shape Tapes says, swipe on the hype with the best-selling concealer, full coverage with a natural matte finish that smooths and brightens for an instant facelift effect. Smooths and brightens for an instant eye lift effect. It's very surgery coded. Their Sculpt Tape says, like an instant facelift in a tube. And now the Snatch Stick says, get snatched in seconds for an instant facelift effect, no needles required. And then under that it says, upgrade your face card, no appointment necessary. It's gross. It's not telling you that you're beautiful the way you are, but here's makeup to enhance those features that you like and maybe minimize the ones you don't like. That's not what it's saying at all. It's saying you need a fucking facelift. Now, if we look at another brand that's very artistry focused about faces concealer, their marketing is mostly focused on the performance of the concealer. Undetectable wear for up to 16 hours, etc. So I'm seeing 3 different types of marketing. One is marketing the performance of their product, one is marketing enhancing your natural beauty, and the other one is telling you you're ugly, buy our products. They're essentially all telling you the same thing. They're telling you that this is a concealer. It hides things, it covers things, but it covers whatever you feel like needs to be covered. We're not telling you what needs to be covered. If you want to rock your acne, rock your acne. If you want to highlight this, highlight that. If you don't, that's totally up to you. And then on the other hand, there's, hey, you need a facelift. Use our products. Another thing that I noticed was a very big difference in the imagery that they used. There's 3 categories that I noticed. One was some brands don't use any before and afters at all. They just have images of the product, the packaging, the shade range, and then a description. Then you have brands like NARS and L'Oreal that have very subtle before and afters. Then you have Tarte, which has a deliberately highly visible model with redness and acne and a very dramatic before and after. Again, it's highlighting flaws. It's highlighting that you have flaws and we can help you fix them. There's nothing inherently wrong about demonstrating what your concealer can do, but there is just a difference in how it's being presented that I think is noticeable. Because somebody with acne might be looking for that information. They want to know if it's full coverage and that sort of thing. But it just made me curious about a larger pattern here. So now let's look at the contour sticks. That's where the distinction became much harder to ignore. Other brands are talking about creating shadows, dimension, definition, sculpting, enhancing your features, all of these things. They're even lifting and snatching, and that's totally fine. But the difference is the reference points. Like most of these are saying, do you want a shadow here, some highlight here, whichever features you want to naturally enhance or minimize, we're here for you. Tarte's campaign is saying, this stick can approximate the results of cosmetic procedures. Permanent procedures that alter and change your face forever. Those are 2 very different ideas of what makeup is for. One says here is your face, here is a tool. The other says, here is your face, here's an upgraded version. They're not the same. And I think that's the distinction that I want people to understand is there's absolutely nothing wrong with using makeup to change your appearance, but there is something wrong with a brand telling you you need to change your appearance. So this kind of stopped being a story about a weird marketing campaign, and it became a bit more about selling solutions to insecurity. The beauty industry has been selling solutions to our insecurities for decades. That's not new, but there is a difference between selling a solution to an insecurity that you already had and introducing new ones to you. It's not okay for a brand to introduce an insecurity to you that you did not have through a product or a PR package. That's disgusting and it's gross, and I don't accept. Putting verbiage in your marketing that says things like nose job effect, you're essentially telling me to think about whether or not I need a nose job. I might not have been thinking about that, and then I see your product, I'm like, oh, this is an interesting product, what's it for? And they're like, oh, it's so that you can have a nose job effect. And I'm like, I don't want a nose job. Do I need a nose job? And now I'm looking in the mirror going, well, if I snatch those things, then I'm now thinking about whether or not I need a freaking nose job. Don't put these ideas into other people's heads that they didn't have. The language, oh, facelift effect. I'm like, well, we've never considered a facelift before. And you need to consider the fact that multiple different audiences are seeing this product. So somebody who maybe never even realized that they needed a different nose is now thinking about whether or not they need a different nose. Somebody who hadn't considered whether or not they need a facelift is being reminded, oh, hey, you're aging and you probably should have gotten a facelift by now, but if you didn't, that's okay. Snatch Stick. And I was looking back on their social media and on their other posts, and it's eerily similar to some of their other messaging. It just wasn't as obvious until now. I found this TikTok where they were talking about using their product after rapid weight loss, and how here is how you can correct your face if you lost a lot of weight really quickly and you're not so pretty anymore.
Tarte just launched the cure face. So when you lose weight fast, your face...
So overall, the messaging is often highlighting a flaw that they think their consumers have. Instead of celebrating somebody who rapidly lost weight, we're discussing how, I don't even know what the word is that she bleeped out, but you're discussing how they need to fix their face now that they've lost weight. That's an insecurity that they might not have had. They might have just lost a bunch of weight and been so excited, and then they see this TikTok and they go, oh, wow, I never even noticed that maybe I have these flaws now. Once somebody points out a flaw, it can be very difficult to stop looking for it after that. Once somebody has pointed out, this is what we think you should be looking like, or this is what we think the beauty standard is, it's really hard to unsee that and to stop thinking about it. And that's why I'm particularly uncomfortable with this marketing existing on social media, because there's actually a lot of research on the effects that this kind of appearance focused marketing has on young girls, particularly adolescents between the ages of 13 and 18. Now, obviously, we can't control everything we see on social media. We can't control the influencers, the celebrities, and everybody else who is pushing these beauty narratives at us, but we definitely don't need a brand telling us all that we need cosmetic surgery. There was a study done recently in 2026 that combined 45 different studies involving more than 33,000 adolescents between the ages of 13 and 18. Across these studies, they found that a greater social media engagement was associated with greater body image concerns and eating disorder symptoms. The relationship was stronger in studies with more female participants and stronger in studies specifically examining Instagram than studies treating social media as one giant category. The most important thing that we've learned from these studies is that appearance focused content matters. It's not just saying all social media is bad or that our phones are bad. It's that appearance focused content does negatively impact us psychologically. There's a big difference between scrolling, watching memes, looking at what your friends are doing, and idealizing appearances of other people, of models, of marketing campaigns. They're not psychologically equivalent activities. Researchers have found that idealized imagery, appearance comparison, and internalization of beauty ideals are particularly relevant mechanisms. And there's research that's almost disturbingly specific to this campaign. I'm going to read some of this so that I don't bug it up. In one experiment, researchers randomly assigned 118 women aged 18 to 29 to look either at travel images or images of women who had undergone facial cosmetic enhancements. The women exposed to the cosmetic enhancement imagery showed increased interest in cosmetic procedures, particularly among heavier social media users, people following more accounts, and those less satisfied with their appearance. That's not proof that seeing one Snatch Stick advertisement is going to send somebody into the plastic surgeon's office, obviously, but it does mean that we shouldn't treat cosmetic procedure imagery as psychologically meaningless. And if normal beauty increasingly means looking like we've had cosmetic procedures, eventually the unaltered face becomes the deviation. And that's not normal, by the way. I think part of the reason that this disturbed me so much was because this feels eerily familiar to the early 2000s. I grew up in the 2000s where the media was constantly scrutinizing women's bodies, picking them apart. We literally had close-ups of celebrities' cellulite on the cover of magazines. I lived through America's Next Top Model, where we spent entire episodes picking apart their appearance, changing how they looked, doing all sorts of crazy things to stay thin and beautiful. Extreme thinness was everywhere. Over time, thankfully, there's been a huge cultural backlash to all of that. There's been body positivity, criticizing, retouching photos, more size diversity in fashion, conversations about eating disorders. We've had all sorts of really amazing growth when it comes to beauty and body image and all of those things. So this is really disappointing to see. Lately, I feel like I'm watching the pendulum swing backwards. Not identically, obviously, the mechanisms and the technology is different, but the beauty ideal seems to be swinging back to a place that we literally just dug out of the trenches from, and it's concerning. The optimization mentality feels very familiar. Your face could be tighter, your nose could be smaller, your lips could be fuller, your jaw could be sharper, your eyes could be lifted. There's always another upgrade, and it's a never-ending cycle, and I personally just don't care for it. This is where I wanted to briefly talk about Ariana Grande's newest music video, Petal. Not because I know anything about Ariana Grande's health, and I am not going to speak on that because we don't know what's really going on there. I think it is very obvious that she is at an unhealthy weight. I think we can all see that. And whatever the cause is, we don't know. I don't think she has spoken on it. I think anybody watching this video would be concerned. I don't particularly want to include images of that in this video because I don't want to trigger anybody. I understand that this type of imagery can be very triggering for anybody suffering with an ED. So if that is triggering for you, I wouldn't recommend watching this music video. To be honest, I cried. It was very upsetting to see somebody so publicly that thin. I'm not here to judge anybody's body by any means. It's not about her body. It's just about her health. And I don't see how that level of thinness could possibly be healthy. And it is scary to watch. But the reason I bring this up is because I'm just noticing between makeup and body image right now, I'm seeing a trend that's going backwards. It's going towards extreme thinness, cosmetic procedures, all of these things, right? This rat race of beauty that these corporate machines want us to be insecure because that's how they sell us products. So I'm concerned about the media that I'm seeing lately, because celebrity imagery doesn't exist independently from beauty culture. Neither does Tarte, neither do influencers, neither do cosmetic procedures. They're all part of this visual environment that's teaching us what femininity currently is supposed to look like. And we're living through an era where facial modification became incredibly normalized, and very normalized for younger women, which concerns me. We have a culture where cosmetic tweakments are very mainstream. I just feel like there is a line, and I think we've crossed it, unfortunately. Cosmetic procedure content on social media is pretty normalized. It's talked about a lot. I think there is good and bad. I think it's good that people are honest about the procedures that they had, but at the same time, just because somebody knows that someone has had these tweakments done to their face, it doesn't change the envy or jealousy or comparison that they will then have. Because you can be honest and say, hey, don't compare yourself to me. I've had all these procedures done. That's not going to change somebody's comparison. They're just going to know, okay, if I want to look like her, I have to get this, this, and this done. They're not going to think, oh, wow, I don't need to look like her because she's had all these procedures done. That's not what it does. It doesn't really negate the comparison. It just gives somebody a treatment plan, really. For those of us who lived through the 2000s, I find this all very unsettling. I just don't want another generation of women and girls treating their body like a never-ending renovation project, because you should be able to decide for yourself what things you like about yourself, what things you don't, and how you choose to interact with the products on the market. You don't need somebody telling you that you need a nose job. This isn't about blaming a particular brand or celebrity for how they look. It's just highlighting an overall pattern that I'm seeing in the media that's concerning between celebrities and influencers, advertisements. What happens when millions of images of celebrities and influencers and brands collectively establish a beauty ideal that very few ordinary human beings can actually naturally resemble? Because that's the environment where something like a nose job and a stick doesn't feel abnormal. There are people defending this product because it's been normalized and they're desensitized to it. I'm not desensitized to this. So if you saw this campaign and you were not affected by it and you just scrolled on by and you thought, oh my God, wow, what a clever marketing campaign, then I am very worried that you are desensitized to the amount of media that is telling us how to look, because that's what this is. And that concerns me. If we go back to the Snatch Stick, which apparently sold very well, and they sold 65% of their inventory in the first week, I think that's the bleakest part of this whole thing, is that the beauty industry doesn't necessarily have to make you feel beautiful to be profitable. Sometimes actually making you feel worse is more useful to them. If I don't like my nose, they'll sell me the solution. If I like the natural shape of my face, then I don't need an instant facelift. So then they don't have a customer. A campaign that says upgrade your face card as the sales pitch isn't really gonna land. So they need to push these unholy beauty standards on us so that they can sell us the solution. Period. The commercial opportunity in the beauty industry for profit is the distance between the face you have and the face you think you're supposed to have. The farther that gets apart, the more money that there is to be made. The beauty marketing has enormous power to widen that distance. So whether Tarte deliberately intended for this campaign to be rage bait almost doesn't matter. Maybe they did. Maybe they genuinely thought it was funny. I don't know. But what I do know is that when consumers said to them, this is harmful, this is weird, no, ew, gross, the company's defense was essentially, I'm sorry you feel that way, but it's making us money. So, and profitability and responsibility are not the same thing. Something can sell extremely well and still deserve criticism. I don't think makeup is the enemy here. That's not what I'm saying. I love makeup. I'm wearing makeup. It can be armor. It can be play. Yes, sometimes it can just simply cover an annoying zit. There's nothing inherently wrong with wanting to change something about your appearance. The question I keep coming back to is, who decided what needs changing? Was it you? Or was it the beauty machine? Did you decide that you don't like your nose and that you want to purchase a contour stick? Or did they tell you that your nose is not like this one, therefore you need a contour stick? By showing those influencers where to put the contour stick on their face, they are telling them, this is where we think it would look good, therefore you don't look good without it. It's subliminal. So people who are arguing that it was just a guide, they weren't saying that you need plastic surgery, it was just for the shock value. I'm like, well, what were they implying then? Because I can honestly say that I would never hand my friend a picture of her face with contour drawn on it and been like, here you go. That's rude. That's rude. It's very rude. Because here's the thing. It is implying here's what your face could be. But you can't imply what your face could be without implying that it needs improvement. That's the thing. Because at the end of the day, if somebody wants a nose job effect, they know how to use a contour stick. You don't need to tell them so blatantly. If somebody is insecure about their nose, they will look up on YouTube how to contour my nose, how to make my nose look thinner. They'll figure it out. You don't need to tell them and insert yourself into someone's psyche and give them an insecurity. So no, I don't think the problem with the Snatch Stick was that they made an edgy joke about cosmetic procedures and contour sticks. The campaign accidentally made something about beauty marketing extremely obvious, which is you cannot sell women solutions unless you keep giving them problems to solve. If you need an ambulance to sell me contour, maybe my face isn't the emergency. So, anyways, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you there. Bye.